Okay. Please remind me to record on the set of our VC, okay? Kasi alam niyo naman, pag tumatanda, hulyanin. Okay, so method 1, we do the usual way of solving the problem, okay? Algebraic way. How do we add fractions? 1/2 plus 3/4 or 3/5. What do? We get the LCD or the LCM. Sorry, LCM pala. We have 10. And 10 divided by 2, 5 times 1, that's 5. 10 divided by 5, 2 times 3, that's 6. So that's what we do, diba? Ganun din ang gagawin natin dito. So what is the LCM here of the given expression? The LCM is 1 minus cosine t times 1 plus cosine t. Ayan. So since there is a 1 minus cosine t on the first expression or first term, therefore this is 1 plus cosine t. Diniscuss ko talaga, no? Sige, hindi ko na-discuss kasi alam kong alam nyo na yan. May narinig kasi ako, sir, alam na po namin yan. Okay. That's very elementary, sir. Okay, wag na natin i-discuss. Now, bakit times? Plus 2, guys. Plus. Why plus? Because of the plus here, the plus sign here. Okay, so 1 plus cosine t plus 1 minus cosine t. So this becomes 2 because we can cancel out cosine t. Diba? Over 1 minus cosine square t. Ayan. Alam na kung bakit naging 1 minus yan, diba? A plus b, a minus b, algebra. So guys, it means that factoring or algebraic shortcuts like factoring, cancellation will actually help you to simplify trigonometric expressions. This is equal to, what's wrong with you, pen? A square minus b square. Ayan. Okay, so ganun ang nangyayari sa denominator class. Now, look at this. 1 minus cosine square t. Can we still simplify this? Or is there an identity that is equivalent to 1 minus cosine square t? Meron, guys, di ba? Yan. Yes, that's right. We have the sine square t. So, because we know that sine square, sine square x plus cosine. Ano nangyari sa pen? Putol-putol. Sorry, guys. Ayan. So, this becomes sine square x. Wait. Yung pen hindi nakikisama. Sine square x, nawala tuloy. Ayan, is equal to 1 minus cosine, ba't nawalang x? Cosine square x. Ayan. Okay. So therefore, we can use, actually kasi okay lang naman to eh. Pwede na rin to eh. Pero mas magiging simplified siya if we're going to express it in this manner. 2 over sine square x. Naglalag yung pen. Ayan. Again, pareho lang naman silang dalawa. This answer could be accepted and this answer could also be accepted. So acceptable yung dalawa. Okay? So that's our method 1. So what is our method 2? Our method 2 is with the use of conjugate. So there are so many ways on how to solve this problem. Wait lang, let me just copy. 1 minus. So that's 1 over 1 minus cosine t plus 1 over 1 plus cosine t. So what are we going to do with this? We're going to use the concept of conjugate. So what's the conjugate of 1 minus cosine t? That's 1 plus cosine t. Okay, 1 plus cosine t. Ito naman, look at the denominator. What's the conjugate of the denominator? That's 1 minus cosine t. 1 minus cosine t. Okay, now again, what's the purpose of conjugate or finding the conjugate of multiplying the expression by its conjugate? Now the conjugate class usually simplify or re-express the given expression in other form such that it could be simplified or sometimes it could be, it could be rewritten into a complex expression. Depende. Depende kung paano siya ginagamit or paano mo siya gagawin. Okay? So here, ang gagawin natin, we're going to simplify this and multiply. This is 1 plus cosine t over 1 minus cosine square t plus multiply 1 minus cosine t over 1 minus cosine square t. Okay, so now look at the denominators, guys. The denominators are already equal or the same. Okay, so we're just going to copy. That's how we add fractions. So just consider this as a number. They're just numbers, diba? Na medyo complex in a different form. So 1 plus cosine t plus 1 minus cosine t. Wait, Philip is at the waiting room. All right. So, okay. So I can cancel cosine t because this one is positive, the other is negative. And this becomes 2 over 1 minus cosine square t, which is equal to 2 over sine square t. Ayan. Ano nangyayari sa pen na to? So now guys, the question is, do we have the same answer before in method 1? Yes, we do have. Okay, so what is the main purpose of getting the conjugate? The main purpose of getting the conjugate here in method 2 is to make the fractions or the two terms equivalent. Tama ba ang term, guys? Equivalent fractions, no? Ay, hindi siya equivalent. Wait, I forgot the elementary term for fractions. Similar fractions. Okay? Dapat maging similar muna sila para makombine natin yung numerators nila. So, yan yung main purpose. Nakuha? Question, guys, before we proceed to part 2. Wala. Okay, good. Let's proceed. Now, we are going to discuss how to verify identities. So we have already discussed or identified identities, and alam naman natin kung anong identity, di ba? Ano yung conditional, ano yung contradiction if you watch the video that I sent in our group. And these are the identities na alam natin. And we have already proven this before, so we don't need to verify them. And we accept them as true statements or identities already. Okay? I-accept na natin yan kasi na-verify na natin. Ang tanong is, how do we verify? Actually, pwede rin naman natin itong i-verify eh. Kaso, sabi ko nga, na-solve na natin yan, so we don't need to do that. Now, ang gagawin na lang natin, we're going to verify identities which are not under fundamental identities. Which means, these are identities which are more complex, not simple identities compared with the fundamental. Kaya nga siya sinabing fundamental kasi kumbaga siya na yung simplest. Okay? So for example, in example number 1, tangent theta cos secant theta cosine theta is equal to 1. Now, we can say that this is an identity. Mali pala. We cannot say yet that this is an identity. However, if you claim that this is already an identity, then you need to verify. How do we verify? We need to express the left-hand side in terms of the right-hand side. Okay? Or the other way around, we express the left-hand side equal to be the expression on the right-hand side. Dapat we end up at 1. Or if we're going to work on at the right-hand side, dapat may express natin si 1 in terms of the tangent theta, cosecant theta, and the cosine theta. Okay? Kaso nga lang, alin bang uunahin mo? Sa left-hand side ba o sa right-hand side? Actually, depende sa'yo. Kung gusto mong pahirapan sarili mo, do both. Okay? Do both, pero do it independently. Dapat, kung nagsisimplify ka sa left, nagsisimplify ka rin sa right. Pero, they don't they don't affect the two sides or one side to the other side. Okay?
Sir, excuse me po.
Yes. Yep.
Sir, do we require a calculator this one po, sir?
No. Wala tayong iso-compute dito. Pero after
Basta
ng
po sir,
topic
ang
na,
ipaprove lang po sir na yun po sir, yung tangent theta cosecant theta po tapos cosine theta is equal to 1 po.
yeah, oo. Wala kang ipoprove dito kasi, I mean, wala kang i-compute dito kasi wala namang value in the first place, di ba?
Sige po.
Calculator will not do the verification. Although, in graphing calculator meron, pwede siyang magamit. Okay, sa
Sige po
graph.
sir. Sige po sir,
Okay.
thank you po.
Welcome and good question. And I think ano ba? I'm not sure if I think I discussed that also with Muon on how to verify using graphical method to check if the given equation is an identity or not. Okay, so let's do it. Again, guys, there are three ways to do verification. Number one, method one, you can do the left-hand side only, going to the right. Okay, method two, you do the right-hand side only going to the left-hand side, which means class, once you do the left-hand side, dapat maging equal siya sa right-hand side. Or the other way around, dapat maging equal siya sa left-hand side. And method 3, you should do the left-hand side and at the same time, the right-hand side independently. Pag sinabing independently, kung nagsisimplify ka dito, dito lang. Hindi siya maapektuhan yung the other side. At etong right-hand side naman, ganun din. And in the end, dapat you will result at equal expression or the same, not actually the same, equal expression. Dapat kung x you resulted at x, you should also result at x at the end. Okay? Para masabing equal sila. And if they are equal, then therefore we could say that this given equation is an identity. Nakuha, guys. Now, the question there is, so sir, sino po sir ang pinakamaganda sa tatlong methods na yan? Depende sa problem. Kung minsan, mas maganda si method 1, kung minsan naman, sobrang pangit si method 1, mas maganda si method 2. Pag hindi gumana yung method 1, method 2, mas maganda si method 3. Okay? Pero sir, ano po ba yung pinaka-technique? Okay? Pinaka-hint kung saan kami mag-start? Okay, that's a very good question if you're asking that to me silently. Now, ito class yung pinaka-secret dito. Number one is, dapat alam mo yung fundamental identities. Master mo na yon. Alright? And method 2, dalawa lang yan. Dalawang steps lang yan. Step 2 is alamin mo kung sino yung complicated na expression. Okay? Alin bang side ang medyo complicated? One is a number. And it is the simplest way of expression, di ba? Or expressing something. Pero yung left-hand side, medyo complicated because it consists of lots of trigonometric functions, di ba? So I consider this as a complex expression compared to the right. So therefore, I'm going to work at the left-hand side of the equation going to the right. So dapat, pag sinimplify ko yung left, makakapunta ako ng 1. Dapat mag-arrive ako at 1. So I'm doing method 1. Okay? Now, kung gusto mong pahirapan class sarili mo, do the right-hand side, method 2. Gawin mo siyang tangent, cosecant, and cosine if you want. Pwede naman yun. It's possible, class. Okay? That's what we call manipulation. Okay? Minamanipulate mo na lang. Okay, so let's work on the left-hand side. Okay, and that's tangent, theta, cosine theta, cosecant. Anyway, pwede ko naman siyang i-rewrite, diba? 1. So, question mark. Kasi hindi natin alam kung equal ba siya sa 1 diba? So, our topic is more of proving. Kaya nga ang sabi dyan, verify. When you say verify, you need to show that it's true. So therefore, we are proving that the certain expression is true. So here, however, we are focusing on the left-hand side of the given equation. Okay? So how do we do that? Now, for us to work on this, we're going to use the fundamental identities. And another technique is better express the complicated or complex expressions in terms of sine and cosine. I think I mentioned that in the video I sent or I posted with Muon. Okay, so panoorin niyo yun, makikita niyo at maririnig yung sinabi ko doon, yung mga techniques. Okay, so Tangent is a complex, for me, it's a complex expression, okay? Or trigonometric expression. Kasi class yung complexity, relative yan sa tao, di ba? Sa akin, simple, sa inyo, hindi. Sa inyo, simple, sa akin pala complex. May ganon. Okay. So better use the sine and cosine. Tangent is equal to sine theta. Ayaw makipag-ooperate ng 10. And cosine theta times cosine theta. And, oops. And what is cosecant theta? That's 1 over sine theta. Diba, guys? What the? Okay. Wait. What's wrong with my pen? Okay. And we need to arrive at 1. Yun ang goal natin. Dapat mag-arrive tayo dito to verify that this is an identity. Okay. So, I can cancel out terms or factors. Cancel natin si cosine and cancel din natin si sine. So pag nagka-cancel tayo, di ba, it means is equal to 1. So therefore, we arrive at 1 times 1, tingnan mo, ayaw naman gumana ng 10, times 1, which is equal to 1. So we have shown that working on the left-hand side gives us a value of 1. So which means that 1 is equal to 1, and it is true. Therefore, it is an identity. Okay? So we already verified that the given equation is an identity. Understood, guys? Naintindihan na? Okay, next. Actually, part pa to ng video eh. Okay, so refresh ko lang tayo. Now, let's work on number 2. Now, the left-hand side is also a complex expression compared to the right-hand side because the right-hand side is just 1, diba? So let's work on the left-hand side. And we know secant square x minus sine square x, secant square x is equal to 1, question mark. And let's work on the left-hand side of the given equation. And here, guys, what will I do here? Or what will I do here? Sorry, tama bang grammar ko? The solution that I'm going to perform here is or might be different from your solution, yung plano nyo. Kasi sa verification class, sobrang daming ways para gawin mo yon. Okay? So ang gagawin ko dito, since may nakita akong common term or common factors, ipa-factor out ko muna sila kasi I'm used to factoring. Okay? Yung iba naman ayaw mag-factor, gusto mag-simplify na mag-simplify. Okay lang naman yun. It doesn't really matter. Okay? So, some of you might be using 1 over cosine. Okay lang naman siya, class. Don't worry. Tama naman yun. Alright? So, I have already found this as a factor because I factored out secant square x. And what do I know? What I know here is, ano bang alam ko, class? Secant square x. What do I know about 1 minus sine square x? I know that 1 minus sine square x is just equal to cosine square x. Diba? And what do we know about secant and cosine? We know, guys, that secant times cosine, no? Cosine is equal to 1 over secant. My God, theta, diba? Or we could say that cosine theta times secant theta is just equal to 1, correct? So therefore, we could say that secant x times cosine x square. Pwede natin ilabas yung square, di ba? And this is just equal to 1 based on this identity, yung sa fundamental identity. So 1 square is just equal to 1, therefore 1. So we have shown that 1 is equal to 1. So therefore, this is an identity. Okay? Did you understand that, guys? Ayaw magsalita ng Gluon. Hindi pa kayo nag-toothbrush, no?
Sir.
Okay, good. Kala ko hindi pa nagmumumog. Okay. Example number 3. All right. So let's work on this. Again, pag may magtanong or pag may hindi naintindihan, magtanong . Don't hesitate to ask questions. Okay. Let's work on example number 3. Sige. Mercado. Mercado, are you there? Aniel?
Sir.
Okay, good. Kasi yung iba dyan sa classmates mo, for sure, nagvo-Valorant yan. Di ba, Jester? O wala akong sinabi si Jester yun, no? Nagtatanong lang ako kay Jester. Yung iba kasi dyan, mga guilty eh. Yung iba dyan, nagti-Twitter, nagti-Facebook, or whatever. Okay. Now, Aniel, sa example number 3, sino ba, para sa iyo sino ba ang complicated expression dito? Sa left-hand side or sa right-hand side? Amiel?
Left hand po.
Left hand. Okay. All right. Opinion mo yun, so tama yun, di ba? Okay, some would say, sir, it's the right-hand side. Congratulations. Iba-iba tayo, no? Pwede naman kasi yun eh. Di ba sabi ko kanina, methods 1 to 3, depende kung alin na yung complex sa inyo. Pero for me, it's the left-hand side as well. Pareho kami ni Amiel. Okay? Now, bakit siya naging complex? Kasi may cube. Sa akin, ganun yung pananaw ko about complex eh. May cube and at the same time, may denominator pa, di ba? Samantalang ito, numerator lang, tapos wala pang cube. So, para sa akin, mas complex si left-hand side. So, I will work on the left-hand side and I want to show that this left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, which is equal to 1 plus sine x cosine x. Si Jester tawang-tawa, oh. Tinamaan ata. Oh, ba Jester? Okay, anyway. So, sorry. Okay, so what will I do with the left-hand side here? So let me copy. Pasensya klase, medyo pangit yung sulat. Actually, matagal ng pangit yung sulat eh. Yung pen kasi. I'm not used to this pen. X minus sine S. Pero kahit sa board class, pangit din naman sulat to. Okay, so what's the difference? Alright, so, sir, naka-cube to. Di ba? Gagamitin natin si algebra ngayon. X cube minus y cube is equal to x minus 1. Ang alam ko kasi yung iba baka hindi alam to. So x square, pero dapat alam nyo na to. xy plus y square. Ayan. Ganyan yung factor niya, di ba? Pwede natin to class i-apply. Si x and y, palitan lang natin ng cosine and sine respectively, di ba? So ganito. Dapat, ito yung maging result natin. So magiging siya cosine x sine x times cosine square x plus cosine x sine x. Parang late ba class si Pen lumabas? Hindi naman. Parang late siya sa akin. Medyo. Okay. Buti may kausap pa ako, no? Thank you, Navarro. Okay. And then copy the denominator, cosine x minus sine x. Makikita nyo naman yon kung sumasabay siya sa pagsalita ko at pag-appear sa screen nyo. Diba? Okay. And now, I have already factored the numerator. Siyempre, sir, madali lang yan kasi example eh. Mamaya, don't